You just, get it real hot and
put oil on
Put oil on it, heat it up, put oil on it a few times, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
I actually have to repair, clean and then reseason because I guess moisture got under my winter cover.
Oh.
And so when I pulled it up,
it was not.
There was a little bit of some not great stuff on there.
Yeah,
so.
I got it. Yeah.
But
there's actually a lot of YouTube videos of people restoring them.
Yeah, you get these ruined ones on Craigslist, and they make them
really
look real nice. So
did not think we were going to talk about this in the podcast.
No, I was not prepared for that. But
can we
well, hey, welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. I'm John.
I'm David, and we are not in the studio.
We are not. We are actually in the new office right now, which is pretty different.
New to us.
Yes.
Not
it's an older office.
Not by any stretch new. But
I don't know how old this carpet is, but it's
we'll just say whether or not it's old, it's aged. It's
maybe not aged well, but it's aged.
It's got some experience.
Seasoned.
Yeah, seasoned.
Seasoned, yeah.
Speaking of seasoning, I got to season my grill today.
Oh, yeah?
Do you have a griddle grill?
I do.
Is it a Blackstone?
It's a Sam's version of a Blackstone.
So. Costco actually has the real Blackstones.
I got it for a real good deal for it was a birthday present, but it was real on sale.
So I've never had one before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's great.
So Marianne actually demanded that I get a grill this year.
You got a pool, so you have to have a grill.
Well, I'm concerned about where this is going because I think in her mind this is so we can have more people over, right? Yeah. Because I've actually got a grill, but it's just a little portable grill, just
enough for you and her and maybe
when the kids were home, we could make burgers for the whole family. We could get 6 burgers on it. Right. I mean, what else do you need?
If you got a real full size Blackstone, you can make burgers for 20 people at once.
I did not get the full size.
Okay,
no way.
That was good call.
No. But so today, if the weather is still decent this afternoon, and it looks like maybe it will be, I'm seasoning the grill.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I watched a YouTube video. So isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, it's actually really easy. You just get it real hot and
put oil on it.
Heat it up. Put oil on it a few times, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
I actually have to repair, clean and then reseason because I guess moisture got under my winter cover.
Oh.
And so when I pulled it up,
it was not.
There was a little bit of some not great stuff on there.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But
there's actually a lot of YouTube videos of people restoring them.
Yeah, you get these ruined ones on Craigslist, and they make them look real nice. So
did not think we were going to talk about this in the podcast.
No, I was not prepared for that. But
can we talk about the microphone?
Yeah. You like these?
So I feel okay. So there's a couple thoughts I had when you pulled them out.
Yeah.
The first is right now it feels like we're play-by-play announcers at a sporting event. Like we're looking at the camera like this, and talking like this is the most serious thing ever. That there's just 12 seconds left in the game, and we don't know who's going to win. The other thing that came to mind, and I don't know if you're old enough for this. But did you guys use mics like this in church?
Yeah, I mean,
so I remember a time when there was a whole big kerfluffle about whether or not handheld mics were okay in church. See, I think I'm going back beyond your time. Yeah. So you're familiar with the concept of the worship wars.
Yeah.
Right. When people were arguing, should we get away from the hymnals and do contemporary songs?
I won them. So
yeah, you did. So a whole part of that was this whole thing of when somebody does special music. And for those of you who don't know what special music is, it's a treat. So in the service, you would have your congregational singing.
Yep.
And then you would have what's called an offertory, which often would be just instrumental, like the piano and the organ playing a hymn or something. But sometimes it would be somebody singing. And then usually right before the sermon, you would have what's called special music. And it would be either a soloist or a duet or possibly instrumental. Like I would occasionally do special music on my trumpet. All right. But you'd have the special music person.
Yeah.
And they would sing. So we don't do that so much anymore.
No, it's my experience with special music was it was a very special type of church person who needed to be in the spotlight in a very special way.
No, you're right about that. That was always one of the big debates. And so part of this debate was, should the person just stand behind the pulpit and do the special music there?
Yeah.
Which is how it always was when I was growing up. Or is it okay for them to actually step outside of the pulpit and use a handheld mic like the entertainers did?
So that's really interesting because the more conservative church that I was a part of when I was growing up, that was never a thing. There was always mics like this.
Yeah.
But I always perceived it as the musicians didn't get to go behind the pulpit because that was like a higher place kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they had to stand not on the stage, but down on like the second tier.
Oh, no, I think it's the other way around. It's
really interesting.
They wanted to make a display of themselves. So I actually remember Christian comedians doing bits about
funny.
Special music with the mics and the chords, like how people, and this is,
Oh yeah,
you
the
gotta move
church
your foot.
lady, you have
They're always like doing this thing and play the whole song, and they're like wrapping themselves up in it. And it's just like, I'm singing, to God be the glory, that kind of thing. I'm going to mess myself now.
It would have been really awful if you got trapped and choked
on camera.
Yeah.
How much room do I have to move back here? Like, is there much space? Am I off camera now?
I think you can probably go about like that far. Yeah.
All right.
So I don't remember.
Yeah. So the next iteration of that debate was then, is it okay to use canned music, like recorded music? So even once we got to the point where people use handheld, they always had to have the pianist accompany them, and sometimes that was just odd.
Yeah. Well, especially like that's at the beginning of like all the drums being mixed into Christian music and stuff. And so like my church may not be okay with us having drums. Can we have a track that has drums?
No, you couldn't. I mean, that was the thing, is that this whole thing, to like somebody who comes to our church today and sees how we worship, right? With drums and guitars and keyboards. My whole life has been the baby steps to get there. Right. And this is another one of those things that Gen X, I think, has seen in every part of our lives. The world has changed so much, and I know every generation kind of feels this way, but the shifts have been really cosmic. I think we didn't have computers when we were born, and we the cell phone, and you just think about how the cell phone has changed the world, the internet, all of this stuff in our lifetime is fascinating.
Yeah.
We're gonna be that generation that when we tell stories about the good old days, they really were the good old days.
Yeah. Well, I would say so for my generation, and I'm on the bottom end of like the millennial generation. So like the big difference I've noticed between like me and my sister, who's full on Gen Z, is, I remember when I was 16, I got a cell phone. It wasn't a smartphone, and I had to like pay for minutes and things it was just a different thing. And then, she's had a phone since since she could even text or whatever. And it was a smartphone and all that, there was email and all this stuff on the device. And that was a huge significant difference between us. But just think what you're talking about, which is, for Gen X, their childhood and adolescence was fully in a, not computer free, because computers have been around for a while, but the personal computer age hadn't started yet. Nobody had the internet. And then as, in adulthood, very rapidly, we went from a society where nobody had computers to everybody had multiple computers and people are connected all the time. I mean, that shift is massively different than I think any other 40-year period has ever experienced.
Yeah. So much of what is intuitive for you guys is not intuitive for us.
Right.
So anytime there's any kind of shift in technology, you guys just get it so fast because everything, the touch screen, the slide, everything, it's like you know where to click. We actually have to learn all that because we didn't grow up with it.
Yeah.
But Yeah. So this is funny. Next week, not Easter, the week after Easter, the sermon's on the 10 Commandments. And so I was yesterday went back into the Wayback Machine, as I do when I'm getting ready for sermons, to find some of my old sermons that were applicable. And I preached a sermon on the 10 Commandments back, must have been maybe like 09, 08, 09, 010, somewhere in there. Well, I guess it was 2010. So I was watching, this was at my old church. And so I was watching the sermon, and one observation, I think I was a better preacher then. But the other observation was a big part of the sermon was I did this story at the beginning about my wanting an iPhone, because the iPhone was brand new.
Yep.
But I actually had a smartphone-ish.
A BlackBerry or?
Well, so I had a Palm Treo, but I don't even know if I had the Palm Treo yet when I did this sermon. But like it came around at the end. I was talking about how the 10 Commandments help us to be more content.
Yeah.
And I talked about the fact that I don't have an iPhone and I don't need an iPhone, and I'll probably never get an iPhone. But,
it's funny because you had an iPhone and then you recently
I no longer have an iPhone. So I had probably about a 10-year stretch where I had an iPhone. But I mean, back then we weren't sure what the iPhone was going to be. Like, is this just another phone in the market? But it literally obsoleted every other phone for a long time.
And every other phone became an iPhone, by necessity. And that's wild.
Didn't think we were going to talk about this.
Grilling and iPhones and worship wars.
We got here from the corded
yeah.
mics. So let's talk about why we're using why we're sitting here using corded mics.
Well, if you haven't picked up on this yet, we are in the process of building and remodeling our church building over on Yankee. And so right now, this morning, actually, I went over to, we had already decided we were going to shoot here today in this office because we thought it would be too noisy over there. And I went over to get all the gear, and I couldn't turn the lights on because they had cut the power to work on some electrical stuff. So we are just going to live into, I think, this season that we're in, where everything's temporary, everything's mobile. This might change week to week. We might find ourselves outside one way, I don't know, depending on how things are going. It's oddly quiet here today, so this works. But I'm not going to remember what they all are, but we have kind of 6 core focuses as a staff for this year. Our big goal for 2025 is to finish the build without losing momentum. Yep.
And we've got 6 core focuses that we are focusing on to make that happen. One of which is we've got to be flexible.
Right.
And so here we are flexing
with really
awesome. I think this is so cool though. I kind of like
fun.
this.
What's really exciting for me is all these microphones and stuff are from when I was doing a lot more traveling music and stuff, and I just have all these different mics, and I haven't needed them. They've just been sitting on a shelf over there, so I feel good about having kept these. And
every man feels good when they've been holding on to something forever.
Have you seen?
And then they get to use it.
There's like this video that's been going around where it's like a dad and his son, and they're like, we can't get this work. We need a
specific board.
And he goes, and he runs to the garage and he has it. And
Marianne and Emma love those guys, so they're always sending me their videos. I think they think it's funny because they think it's me.
I think
so.
Well, and like that their gimmick, those people is like, the son turns into his dad over time.
Yeah.
And that's going to be fun for you because, your son's now, adulthood and married and.
Yeah. He's a lot smarter than me though. So he may not turn into me. We'll see.
I think there's some things that are unavoidable.
Yeah. So. His dad joke game is not good yet, but he's not a dad. So that's understandable, but it takes time. You get to get to this level of dad joke. It just doesn't happen overnight.
There was one of the younger guys at one of the middle schoolers here at the church was telling some really good dad jokes. I was like, this is horrible that you're starting here. It's going to be bad when you grow up and become a dad.
Or he's just going to be like the greatest ever, the goat of dad jokes. That'd be pretty awesome. So,
sure.
So we're here in our Lions. Location, our Lions building. So we'll talk about this just for a second because we're going to be using this on Easter Sunday.
Yep.
So the address here is 1700 Lions.
That's right.
And if you want to get here from the church, here's how you do it. turn out of the church parking lot, turn left on Yankee, and then the first road you come to is the light, and you turn left on Lyons Road.
Yep.
And then you go just a couple of driveways, and there's a building on your left. Turn left there at 1700 Lyons. And then what you're going to do is go around to the back of the building, because we're on the back side of the building, and we're on the far west side. Now, that only helps half the population.
Yeah.
Half the population hears me say southwest side of the building. Your eyes glaze over. You have no idea what that means. So what it means is, as you're facing the building from the road, turn right.
Yep.
And we're in the back right corner. Yeah.
And once you get into the parking lot, it's a circle.
Yeah, it's super easy.
You're going to find where all the hubbub is. And
right. So on Easter, you'll know it. You'll see it. You won't be able to miss it on Easter. But a lot of people will be coming here for groups, for some of the classes that are going to be meeting here. And if they need to come to the office, this is the place they're going to have to come. But it's not like a really super active place, so you won't have any trouble finding it. But yeah, so if somebody wants to come and be a part of the service here on Easter, what's the service going to look like?
Yeah, it's a more stripped down, laid back. I think we've even said things like cafe vibe in here. So it's an acoustic set, just me and my guitar. We'll still have words on the screen for you and all that.
I'm going to also be preaching acoustically.
Yeah, acoustic preaching.
Yes.
Yeah, with a microphone.
With a microphone.
Yeah. Same message. It's not going to be different in what we are doing, just how we're doing it is going to be a little different here.
I don't even know this. Are the songs going to be the same?
A little different. A little different.
Okay.
Just to
some songs don't necessarily work in different, but still Easter themed.
Still Easter themed. The core is going to be the same. Yeah. So
all right, the sermon should be pretty much exactly the same.
The thing about that though is, even on a normal Sunday, the sermons change service to service. So
some weeks more than others.
Yeah. But you're starting from the same place at least.
Yes. Yeah. So this will be the third time of the day. So it should be running by then.
I think it should be your best sermon is my prediction, because 7 a.m. you're going to be kind of warming up, and then at 9 o'clock is going to kind of feel like your 8:15, which is when you really kind of refine stuff, and then you're usually at your best at 9:30. So I think the 10 o'clock is going to be
all right.
So
the only way to know is to come at 10 o'clock. Yeah.
And
all right. So what the person who wants to be here for that service? What are some of the things that identifies that person?
Yeah. So the first thing I think is if you do want a less big experience, it's going to be a smaller room. Less people, I think more intimate music and worship time. It's going to be like more like that. There's not going to be lights and loud sound. It's going to be much more simple. So if that's something you enjoy, this is probably going to be the more enjoyable experience. Yeah. But I think the person that really is going to enjoy this is the person who just says, I want to help make room for others at Yankee. And so if that fuels you by making space for more people to be able to be over there, we know that most of our guests will likely show up at 9 and 11. And so if that's something that motivates you, which I think it should all of us, and you're able to not need to be there and come here, great. Especially if you don't have kids, because we don't have kids programming here. I think we have a little space. If
we have a little room, if you need, like if you need you got a little baby with you and you need to get away, there's room for that. Yeah.
And we're totally okay with kids being in service, but we're just not going to have kids programming over at this building. So, if you're, maybe a younger couple or, unmarried and you're like, I don't need kids, man, come over here. Maybe your kids are all off to college, and that's another great opportunity for you to help make more room for more people to connect.
Yeah. And the reality is it's going to be crowded at Yankee.
Absolutely.
It's probably both services will be somewhat crowded. If you don't like crowds, I think. And I just noticed this. I don't know if you've noticed this, that our tree outside our door has really bloomed this week.
Yeah, this nice red one.
I'm wondering, is that the only tree like that?
We just say the pink tree.
That's what I was going to say. We're right under the pink tree.
I don't think it's the only one.
Is that pink though?
Magenta?
I would say pink, and everybody would correct me. That's coral.
I'll tell you what,
It's
if
not
you're good with
coral.
colors and on Easter Sunday you want to come and tell us what color this tree is, that would be very helpful.
Right. So we'll talk more about this
Yeah.
in a second, but there's the possibility that we're going to have rain on Easter.
Yeah.
If we do, that means our 9 and 11 services are going to be even more crowded.
Yep.
So if, that I think that's a really good motivation for people
Yep.
to come here.
Yeah.
Is just to make a little bit of room, and
Yep.
that would be really helpful. And if you do want to come to this service, we are asking you to sign up.
Yep.
That just helps us to prepare.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you don't register, you can still come to this
Yep.
service. That's perfectly fine. You don't. If you're like, oh, I didn't register, but I want to go there. Like you wake up Sunday morning and you were planning to go to 9, and it's too late. You're like, I don't want to go to 11 because it's going to be a madhouse. You still come to 10.
Yeah.
You don't have to register.
Yeah.
So
We will have plenty of room, but we do want to make sure we have, enough room. We don't want to
Yeah.
underestimate. And so
well, we are having better coffee.
it is better
Like
coffee.
I mean, like exponentially better.
So it's not just better quality, just normal coffee. We're having special better coffee.
You know what? Let's do something
Should we
here.
tell them?
So we haven't revealed this to anybody anywhere yet because we want it to be a surprise. But I feel like maybe for our loyal podcast watchers,
Yeah.
both of them.
And what's the harm in like 3 people knowing? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we're actually going to have a coffee truck.
Yes.
Who is it? Do you know?
Tom's Coffee.
Tom's Coffee is going to be here at Lions Road, free to you.
Yep.
Like the first, I don't know. Well, no, everybody's going to be free.
It's a time period. Yeah.
So it's free to you, Tom's Coffee, and they'll make you different drinks, right?
Yeah. I think they have, a lot of different flavors and stuff that, they'll, I don't know if it's like Starbucks level frou-frou-ness, but so don't come expecting a Frappuccino mocha latte thing, but
is that what they get on that one movie where they blow up the gas station?
probably, yeah. Zoolander.
That's it. I couldn't remember what it was. All right. So really good coffee here.
Yes.
Donuts.
Yep.
Because that's what we do, but then also extra.
Yes.
So this really is, we're going to treat you good if you come to Lions Road.
We're not trying to bribe you, but
Yep,
if you need to be bribed,
we are bribing.
Yeah.
So we always talk about bribing as a bad thing.
Yeah.
But we bribe our kids all the time.
it's just motivating.
Yeah, I bribe you guys all the time.
All the time.
Like, yeah, work hard on Sunday for Easter, and on Monday we'll play pickleball.
Deal.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Easter's this Sunday. Let's just real quick talk about rain, just in case. We're having a 7:00 sunrise service.
Yes.
And the closer we get, the more it looks like there is the possibility of rain.
Yep.
And we don't like this, but it is the reality.
Yeah.
It's out of our control. And what we say about things that are out of our control is that we work at what we can control and we pray about what we can't. So we are praying for good weather, but we're also setting a plan just in case. So here's the plan. If weather means we can't have the service outside, we are going to cancel it. We're not going to do a sunrise service inside.
Yeah.
Kind of misses the point. If that happens, we will make the decision by 5:00 on Saturday night. And we will communicate that to you via Facebook, via email, via the Church Center app.
Yep.
You'll get a push notification, and we will put it on the website. So check one of those places after 5:00 on Sunday or Saturday, and find out whether or not the service.
Yep.
But weather here changes fast.
Yeah.
And so we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. What else was? This is kind of like the informational podcast.
Yeah. I feel like we've just dumped a ton of information on people, but
yeah, it's like an
important stuff to
announcement.
know.
Announcements in church. So now we should take the offering.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask the
cue
ushers.
pad to
I'd
come
like to have
in
the
and-
ushers to come forward at this time.
And we already talked about the offertory, like
The
music.
the offertory. So, and then John's going to do special music for us.
How's the deal? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was a real little kid, the big special music song that everybody would do. And looking back, I was probably kindergarten, first, second grade. So I was probably watching the teenagers and the young adults, but I didn't process that. They would all sing, they loved to sing the Andre Crouch song, My Tribute, which is, again, this is way before you. But he was, do you know who Andre Crouch is?
Probably.
So he was a Gaither guy.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yep.
I mean, that kind of puts him But his song "My Tribute" is a very, very cool song, and when you listen to it, you're like, you know exactly when it was recorded. It was so clearly recorded late 70s, early 80s, right? Because it just has that sound. I remember them, we were in like a rural community, them singing and having a pianist accompaniment. And I just thinking to myself, now looking back, those kids must have hated having to sing that song with a piano accompaniment when what they were listening to on their records was so very different than that. But yeah, I could probably go on with these stories that nobody wants to hear about just forever and ever.
When I was in a church that was doing social music, it was all Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant and, maybe back in some like Keith Green stuff.
All right.
It's still relevant.
All right.
But
So here we go. This is similar to one we already did, but we'll do our quick Mount Rushmore.
This is gonna be bad because
no, it's going to be Mount Rushmore of Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant songs. So you can pick from either of them.
I don't know if I can,
but you get 4. So we got to go with Friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No?
Friends are friends forever.
Yeah. I mean,
who does that count for?
Well, that's Michael W. Smith. Yeah.
So the problem with this is most of Amy Grant's songs are Michael W. Smith songs.
Well, we don't have to distinguish between them. We can just pick from either. So we got to get 4 total combined.
Let It Rain is.
Who's that?
Michael W. Smith.
That must be late Michael W. Smith.
Rain,
I don't even know that song.
Yeah.
I don't know where the
Late
cutoff
90s,
is.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely would have been
Early thousands.
done with him by then. Did he just release something?
Oh, he's touring right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
Must be like 80.
I'm not gonna lie. The video I saw of him, I just have you seen any footage from Billy Joel's most recent tour?
No.
It's like cool. I'm like glad he's still doing it, but then I'm like, this is not the same. This is hard to watch.
So my 5th grade teacher was Michael W. Smith's elementary music teacher.
Oh,
How about that? Yeah.
she should get some credit. Some.
Maybe she. I mean, I know there was a time when he did a concert near where we lived, and he actually went over to her house after the concert, and a lot of the people like from the school got to. I wasn't old enough, so and we just didn't do the Michael W. Smith thing at the time. So
I'm trying to think of Amy Grant songs.
I can't. Maybe this was a bad idea.
So I'm in that place where like if I hear them, I know them, and but they're not fresh in my mind at the moment.
I can't even think of what like her big staples are. Forget
She
it.
had a big Christmas song.
What was it though?
I can't remember, but I just in my mind I know that she had
the
a Christmas
only
thing.
song I can think of from Amy Grant is "Fat Little Baby."
What?
It's about an immature Christian.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you need to.
Can we bring that back?
You got to find it.
That sounds timely.
It is actually. It may be one of her most theologically correct songs.
Yeah.
So Michael W. Smith. I think this is interesting because our two. We just have 2 different eras of Michael W. Smith. Like I'm going to say like Agnes Day.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one of his.
Yeah. So I think there was a season where CCM, everything was incumbents in that, and then there started to be what people call worship songs. And it was songs that were more congregational in the way they were written and stuff. And he definitely in the 2000s pivoted into that. But when the Amy Grant era, 80s, 90s, it was all mixed together.
I get nostalgic when I think of the CCM stuff that I grew up with. That just all these artists, and I've talked about David Meese before, but like Margaret Becker, which is one of my all-time favorites, and nobody even knows who that is. I'm getting old. All right. So anything else we talk about here?
No, I think Easter's the big thing. So
yeah, let's quick mention child dedication.
Oh yeah,
because that's coming up on Mother's Day. So if you are a parent and you want to get your child dedicated, I think it's going to be open on Church Center this week.
Yep.
So you can sign up for that.
Why should somebody dedicate their child? What does that even mean?
So I think there's 2 pieces to it. One is it's this internal commitment. And those are good for us to make sometimes. There's like when I publicly make a commitment for myself, it gives me internally a sense of responsibility and accountability to fulfill that. And so what I'm saying is to the church, look, I want my child to grow up to know Jesus. And so I want to do everything I can. But I think on a more practical level, I'm asking the church to partner with me. And it's me saying to the church, hey, I want my child to grow up to know Jesus, love Jesus, follow Jesus for their whole life. Will you join me in this pursuit? And so it's a chance for me to ask that and to know that there are many people in our church that they pray for every kid that ever gets dedicated. Like they sit there and they watch these dedications, and then they continually pray for these kids. I think the benefit for the church, the whole church, is it's good for us to be reminded that we are in this together, and we are trying to help these kids grow up to know Jesus, love Jesus, and follow Jesus for their whole life. So I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and it's a fun day on Mother's Day when we do it.
I think that's my favorite part is just every year we do them, they get bigger.
Yes.
And so for
me,
we
ran out of stage.
Yeah.
I mean, last year.
And one of my favorite things has been just seeing, not just, we see the numbers. We know our church is growing. It's more crowded on Sunday. You feel it. But I think seeing the kids, that is just a special marker of that growth for me. And my prediction is this year's going to be like last year. It's going to be the biggest. But I was just thinking about how many people I know are having babies coming up within the next year, and it's a lot.
There are a lot of pregnant people.
There's a lot of pregnant people here. So, I'm
which just makes the lobby more crowded.
Yeah, which is why
all those bellies swinging around.
Well, they each count as two, and so we probably need to times 1.3.
No, they should count it two.
Yeah,
we should count them as two. I don't know why we don't do that.
Our attendance just went up a ton.
We're
well over 1,000 now. That's how you do church counting right there.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's just one of my favorite things to see is just all the kids, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older in ministry, so I'm starting to see, there's kids there's actually people who are like adults leading things here that we knew them as students, and I think that's I'm starting to see more of that generational impact that ministry can have, and so that's what I get excited about. But
yeah, so I'm at the point where a lot of the kids who are in my youth group, their kids are graduating now.
Yeah.
So I see their posts on Facebook that their kids are graduating from high school, and it's like, oh man, people I married and
I would say what's weirder, that seeing the people that you invested in have kids that are now grown and all that, or that first season when you're starting to have your youth kids start getting married and become grown-ups, what's weirder experience?
I think the weirder experience for me is seeing the youth kids grow up and get old.
Yeah.
Because especially now, I look at some of their pictures on Facebook. Some of them look older than me.
It's been a hard few years.
Right. I'm still waiting. I don't know if there's been anybody yet where I did their wedding and now their kids are getting married. Although I might be wrong on that. There may be a couple. I think I get the most joy though out of that kid was in my ministry and now they're doing ministry. And I have several of those that are in different roles as pastors, leaders in Christian ministries, missionaries, that kind of stuff. And it's fun for me to interact with them from time to time and just see how they're doing in ministry. I really like that. So I love how everybody's coming in trying to be super quiet. Awesome. Yeah, they're trying to be, I'm not going to interrupt them. But they don't have mics like ours. So
yeah, no one can hear you.
Yeah. All right. So how are we going to leave this today?
Big things.
Yeah.
Come to Easter. Come to Lions if you can or are willing. And even if you're unwilling, we beg you. We'll bribe you. If you have a special request,
good coffee, good pastries. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at this point, we're just rolling into Easter. So we'll see you on Sunday.
We'll see you on Sunday. All right. So we got to until we see you again.
Bon voyage.
Keep it
real, keep it rooted.
Keep it real and keep it rooted. And we'll see you next week.
Maybe here.
Maybe somewhere else.
Bye.